Hello, folks. It's Tuesday morning, about 8:53 in the morning when I'm making this. It is the 22nd of April. Cheers, everyone. Well, thank you for the very, very wonderful feedback on my video of the performance from last week at Grapefruit. So very kind of you all. So I'm glad that you dig the music. And I like this. I like what you say, Frank Alfar. He says, the only dude who funks with ambience, noise, and serenity in all in one show. Yeah, I'd say that's probably pretty unique these days, isn't it? Thank you so much. And I'm blown away that people are really watching the video. I on average daily, my daily average on videos is over 1,000 views, and this one is already 2,600 views. So people are interested. I love that. I love that very, very much. Awesome. Awesome. Let me adjust this. There we go. You don't usually see that lamp. There we go. And that, well, there it is. So I went to a show last night. I'm just going to vibe, but I'm thrilled at the response to my show. And I haven't planned it yet, but my wheels are turning as far as I probably ought to go ahead and do another show and maybe try to do something, where I feature myself, and put together. Well, it came up. Okay, so I went to a show last night, and Mike Watt was in town with his band MSSV. And as you know, I've said many times in recent videos, I'm kind of over going to shows, So I wasn't planning on going to the show. I knew that Mike was coming, and Mike he's a friend. He's a bass brother. Mike is very friendly, so he loves people. So he treats everyone with super kindness. But I feel a connection to him, and it's ongoing. So he got a hold of me through email yesterday, wanting to say, "Hey, I'm coming in town. You stopping out?" Wasn't expecting that. You're going to get a hold of me personally? Yeah, I'm going to come to the show. And I'm glad I went for a number of reasons. I didn't buy any merchandise. The MSSV thing that they're doing with Stephen Hodges on drums and the guitar player who, I'd have to look him up. It was very good. It was really personal and kind of intimate. There were several things to note about the show. But I could tell that if I were to buy their album, it would be more of a souvenir, that what I'm hearing this is the experience. I can tell this is something that I would not necessarily want to play again and again and again. So I didn't buy any merchandise, but I had an incredibly good night. A lot of friends were there. Mike gave me just the biggest hug. And he is a trooper. It's like, Mike had that surgery on his knee, and so he has to walk with a crutch. And as he made his way to the stage, it was with great difficulty I could see, that, walking with this thing was no fun for him. So the several wonderful things about the show. The three-piece, they play really well together, and it was really naked. because they improvised a lot. They tried a couple new songs where Stephen Hodges, the drummer, who used to play with Tom Waits, Charlie Musselwhite, Mavis Staples, and people like that, where he was missing the cues, and Mike literally was trying to give them to him on stage. And I love it because they weren't embarrassed, and Stephen wouldn't miss this cue because it was a funny count. And as they played it and went through the change, I started to catch the count, and it was interesting, The guitarist, I think Mike is his name, very good, but wonderful in that, he just did his part, wasn't drawing attention to himself, and yet he was really, really good, really dynamic. That's the other thing about the dynamics. Mike Watt has played for so long, he toured so much that many people in the audience, well, I shouldn't say many, but many of the people that I know in the audience have seen Mike several times. Tim Guthrie was there. He's seen him over 40 times. Another person said, I've seen him at Mike Watt at least 20 times in different configurations. So what I'm trying to say is that the audience was there for the music. The audience was there for Mike. So when the two opening bands, Dan Jones and something, and then Pagan Athletes played, it was the typical, a lot of crowd chatter. Pagan Athletes were incredible. They've just gotten so much better. Local, I know them since they were kids. They were really good. But when MSSB played, there was a lot of dynamics, and they would get really quiet. And I noticed it. It's like the audience was dead silent. It was so cool that there was a couple points where they brought the music down and the guitarists whispered the words as well as Mike. There's this one thing when they're going, hypocrite. It was fantastic because I had to remark, I had to look at the audience. And it's like everyone was, all the energy was on the stage. That's incredible. That doesn't happen hardly at all. I've only been to a few shows where there was that sort of reverence. The first time I saw Genesis in a huge auditorium, it was amazing how dead silent it got. People were just enraptured by the music. So I'm glad I went. It also reminded me of why I don't go to a lot of shows, because of all the standing that you do, because I want to be up front. And it's tiring to be standing for hours. But after the show, I got to hang out with Mike. He talks to me like we're old friends. That's what's amazing to me. It's like we bonded. He bonds with people in general. And he's really into the bass. So we're bass brothers. And I loved watching him play bass. He loves to play. He's into it. He loves to play. He loves the bass. So it was wonderful and he played for me. There was a couple times he'd look up right at me and then get this neat little smile, wondering if I heard what he played. I love shit like this, people. This is the best. Just with regard right quick, it reminds me, I just had to erase one negative comment regarding my performance. And again, it was like, well, here's something that I figured out a while ago. Trolls, people who have nothing better to do and somehow want to upset you, will literally start their account the day of the comment. See, I just look it up. And the one negative I got in person really is, unfortunate for them that they want to attempt to rain on someone's parade, which they can't, because it's obviously that they are some kind of loser. Going to start an account just so you can say something negative. If the person had looked closely, they'd see I was playing everything through the sound system. I didn't have a bass amp, so you didn't hear bass tone properly. And I loved the performance, but I was disappointed as an artist with the PA. I was hoping that with those big EVs that we'd have a bit more bass presence, so I didn't bring an amp. But that says a lot about the person that you're hell bent on doing something negative, that you'll start an account the day of it's like it completely negates what you have to say and your energy. So I'll say that. Probably will get some more today. I was also afterwards I hung with Mike for a little bit. And that was the other thing. It's like they're tearing down, but he took this time to visit with me because we took pictures, and I took some pictures of other people with Mike. He'll take pictures with everybody. So when that cleared out a little bit, I got up on stage with him and asked him, so are you in pain? Because I was really noticed him getting on stage was laborious. He said, "No pain, brother, no pain." And then he went into the whole story. It's like, wow, he talks to me like I'm an old friend. But he shared so much about his drinking and some other personal issues that led to him destroying, the upkeep of his body. He talked about what he's doing now, especially with regard to sugar, because he found out that was, for him, is a killer, no sugar. And on top of that, Mike watches me. He watches the videos. He said, I watch it almost every day. Mike Watt is the sort of person I would like for president. Okay, how's that? So if that pricks the trolls to want to be nasty with me because I have insulted their Fuhrer, bring it on, you idiots. Fucking idiots. And that's another thing that was wonderful about the show. The opening band, Dan Jones, came up from Kansas City, it turns out, because they played the night before with Mike Watt. And I guess they agreed, well, we'll come up to Omaha and play again. I didn't watch them. They were the first band, and their sound to me was pretty generic indie rock, guitar indie rock. Pagan Athletes were second, and then it was MSSB. And both of them protested. Artists stand united against fascism, hate, racism, sexism, and the fact that we have a criminal and a criminal-minded administration that we're trying to live through. Those protests were noted by the audience and heartily cheered. We don't like this person that's trying to be the modern day Hitler. So it's just fantastic. I could go on and on. Of course, I run into a lot of people that I know, but even more people who I don't know who say that watch the channel. So if you care to, let me know. Were you at the show last night and you watched the channel? Let me know. Let me know you were at the show last night. I met a couple folks who said they watched. I don't know who they are. So in another music news, I don't have a night listen to share. The last night listen I listened to, I put away already out in the other room. But it was a Charisma label sampler. And that was an interesting listen for bedtime because it was a mixture of music and humor. Vivian Stanshall starts the CD off, and that's the last thing I listened to at night. Nothing last night because it was a late night. Here's what's sitting out from yesterday because I worked. I have started recording a version of the Symphony of Sound, that thing that I did with sound, ambient sound, at my Grapefruit show. I had started, so I've done several releases, and I need to bring that up. Lots to bring up. I had started a program for another CD called Abstracts. I'm going to change it now and add this new piece that I'm working on, the Symphony of Sound. And I was intrigued by how it sounded watching the video. It says, wow, this really works. This is juicy sound. So I started working on it yesterday, and I have a central sound that I started with, the thing that's almost like a bell, and it's just working out to be a real good center point for working around. So I worked on that on and off yesterday, but I did play some music, and listening, music is the best, okay? So I don't like politicians. Most politicians don't know a fucking thing about good music. So I listened to some Massive Attack yesterday. And this one, Mad Professor versus Massive Attack Part 2. And this is really cool. I love how the tune off of Mezzanine, where they sample Mittegeisen by Susie and the Banshees. They feature that prominently on here. Nice vinyl. This was like, oh, got to play all of these, all the remixes, all of his. This is really good. I have the other one too, the first one. I like the graphics on this too. Mad Professor, saw Massive Attack in 1998. The first time they came to America. When I drove up to Minneapolis, it was well worth it. I also listened to this 12-inch single remix of Rising Sun. And also Super Predators is on here, the Mad Professor remix. I'll show this too because this is clear vinyl. Yeah. Great band. I still don't understand their album Heligoland, because after this, it was like, how are they going to follow this up? And I still don't quite grasp what's going on with Heligoland. It just I still don't get it yet. I have to try, because those guys are super talented. Something else I listened to was just kind of my mood after playing with sound. Played this Gusgus versus T-World. And I found this recently at Grapefruit Used. I like Gusgus and got to see them live years ago. It was awesome. It was like it was almost like a rave. They were really powerful live. Great beats. So yeah, that's what this is. Just hypnotic, repetitive, but really the sculpting of the sounds is the thing that keeps you going. And their beats are real cool. What led to that was I was over there digging, and this came up, and I couldn't remember what it sounded like. Lawrence Teaser on the electronic music label Compact. Now this is one of those kind of records where it's very repetitious, kind of slightly hypnotic, not the sort of thing that I do. I don't listen to this stuff a lot, but once it settles in on you, it's like, well, you just fall into it. And so I enjoyed this. Electronic, no words. Who knows who the person actually is? It's good though. Lawrence Teaser. And just to be completely transparent, I listened to this all the way through. I had shown it the other day, but I hadn't played it yet. And Blixa Bargeld, I don't speak German, and here's the 7-inch. His delivery, his voice, the angst, and the emotion that comes through his voice it's compelling, and it's like, oh man, I want to listen to this. What's going on here? So to follow up here, I played music at my show. I played something off of DHX. Okay. I often forget my own details. Okay, so I don't recognize. I know I played something off of. The Muse. The way that I started with that ambient thing, where I'm playing the bass and the keyboards. That's from the album The Muse. Okay, but I know I played something off of this from the archives. I played a track from my album that's on FPE Records. Future Still. I played some of that. And did they play anything off of here? Yes, Frangabon, the thing where it's bouncy. I love that track. That's on here. It's on this album here. And then I don't have all my titles here. They're out in the kitchen. But you can own that music and it sounds great on CD. So that's the thing I want to do, is set up a show where I can have the sound proper, big, the way I want it. Thank you, folks, for your kindness. Thank you for your interest in my music. I'm glad that you hear it. I'm glad that you hear that I'm real. I'm a real artist. I'm actually rather good and unique. I love the fact that I have my own sound. I don't sound like anybody else. I play ambient funk, among other things. Okay, folks. Family, always thinking about you. Love you all. I'm probably forgetting some things I'd like to share, but they're gone. Talk to you later, and be well.